Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, I witnessed EM getting destroyed. Mom gave me a couple thousand and said she didn't want to be in my family's life. I almost got kicked out of my home over empty Red Bull. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I witnessed EM getting destroyed. I saw this today and I can't stop laughing. I was traveling in my city metro. It wasn't that much crowded at that time, but all the seats were occupied. Still, you could freely stand without being humped by a stranger. There was this kid sitting in the reserved seats, the ones for people with handicaps, pregnant women and old people, definitely not for moms of 2-year-olds. He was probably 14 or 15 ick. He is the hero of the story here. Then at one stop, our EM comes in. She has this cute little child who is trying to keep up with his mom's pace. EM instantly sees our hero sitting at the reserved seat and just stares at him. I guess this was her way to make people automatically give away their seats or something. The kid didn't move though. This probably irked EM a lot, I guess, cause she moved towards the kid with heavy steps. She comes near him, stopping again, does the stare. The kid doesn't budge. Then she starts screaming. If she didn't have the whole compartment's attention earlier, she had it now. She starts berating the kid for sitting in a reserved seat and not giving it for someone more deserving, like a mother like herself with a young kid. What her logic was. The seats aren't reserved for them anyways. She just keeps shouting and screaming and tries to get others' opinion on it, and for a while people were on her side. Then the kid, out of nowhere, rolls right side of his jeans up and detaches the artificial leg and keeps it in front of EM. The look on her face was priceless. It looked like she was mortified and embarrassed at the same time. She just backed away silently. And just got off on the next stop. I don't think that was her stop. This is awesome. I want to meet this hero and shake his hand. OMG, my dad is an amputee and has done this before, and it's such an amazing way to shut assholes up. A funny story that's kind of related is that once he was on a private plane with his friends, all stuntmen, and the stewardess was asking them if they got injured in their jobs often, and in response my dad took off his prosthetic leg and kind of tossed it towards her, and the poor lady was so frightened she screamed and jumped. I often get the stink eye for sitting in the reserved seats on the metro or the bus because I look young and healthy, but I'm actually disabled due to issues with my spine, spinal cord, nerves and leg, but you can't really tell from looking at me. A lot of disabled people don't outwardly present as disabled, so it's best to approach people kindly and not assume the worst of them. Edit, the stewardess had been joking around with them earlier and wasn't angry at my dad. In case that wasn't clear, she ended up having a good laugh with everyone. I realized that I forgot to mention that in my original comment. He has definitely dealt with a Karen or 20 in his time. EM must be terrible at arguing. He didn't even have a leg to stand on, and he still won. Mom gave me a couple thousand and said she didn't want to be in my family's life. Not sure if this is the right place for this. If not, please direct me to an appropriate subreddit, as I need to put this somewhere for my own sanity. Brief background: my mother has never been a fan of my spouse. My spouse is black and I'm white. My mother never accepted this. We had various issues over the years. My wife and I have been together 15 years. It all finally hit a boiling point 7 years ago, and I severed ties completely with my mom and dad. Dad was never cruel like my mother, but she made my life a living hell and he just went with it. A year ago my father passed and I wasn't told until a couple days after it happened. Apparently he was in the hospital for a week or so before passing. It hit me a lot harder than I thought. My dad and I were extremely close growing up. I was his little buddy and we did everything together. It broke me when I severed ties with them because of that. It broke me again when he passed. Over the past year my daughter, 8, has been asking about her grandparents on my side. She was one when I cut them out and hadn't seen either of them since. My wife told me I needed to reach out for the sake of our children, which I did via FB. I have none of their contact info, and my mom saw the message but never responded. Q2 a week ago, I get a call from an unknown number and answer it. It's my mom. She tells me that she appreciates me reaching out, but she's not ready to be in my family's life. She feels like I kept her grandchildren from her and caused the rift in our relationship. She goes on for a few minutes and then tells me she sent me money through Walmart. We hang up and I go Walmart and pick it up, turns out it's $2K. I was expecting it to be very little as she's never been the helpful kind. Why give me money? All I want is a relationship for my daughter because that's what she wants. Perhaps the money was from your dad? You might want to know what his will said. I bet she gave you money because she owes you money from your father's estate. I bet she is keeping a lot of what she is supposed to be giving you. It's also possible she gave the money without explanation because more money was left, but she doesn't want OP to have it. The money was probably from guilt. As another person who is in a mixed-race relationship, you're better off. If your mom couldn't accept your wife, I'm sure she would never fully accept your kids, and speaking from personal experience, you're better off with that. If she legitimately tries to come back and be a part of your life, then it's up to you what you want to do. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I honestly feel like that's the last I'll hear from her. Trying to process. If she is just sending you money out of the blue, she probably owes you a lot more. Also, your wife needs to get it in her head that your mom is never going to not be awful, and sometimes, being away from family can be healthier. I almost got kicked out of my home over empty Red Bull. I, 17, just got my first job and was freaking out the day before my first day because I couldn't find my birth certificate. I eventually found it in a box in my dad's, 42, room. We had no idea why it was there, and I know my dad didn't move it because there is no reason for him to. He also wouldn't have a chance to because before I got the job I was sitting in my room applying for jobs, and any time I left was while he was at work and when we went out together. I have finished high school BTW. But enough about that. What happened is I freaked out right after we ate, so there were 3 bowls and a cup in the sink. When I went to bed, I got up at 7 a.m. for my job at 9:30, drank a Red Bull and set the empty bottle in my trash can downstairs. There were like 5 others, no other trash. I went to work and started the onboarding process for my job. Not giving the job, I'm not sure if they have read it and slightly worried I already made this too specific. I was 2 hours in when I needed to fill out some information and I noticed a text from my stepmother, 32, my dad is hot enough to pull that off, he isn't rich or any other reason for this gap. The text basically talked about how she was mad about the dishes, not specifically to me since it wasn't my chore, not furious or anything, just slightly mad. But the second text was off the walls about how my room stunk and about my trash with the Red Bull in it and how it was unacceptable, and she threatened to kick me out for it. I later figured out the smell was coming from my dresser. A dead mouse was there, rotted, and I couldn't smell it because I was used to it. But I basically lost everything but my phone, and I'm not sure what I did to deserve that reaction, only still here because of my dad at the moment. Sounds like she's just been waiting for you to graduate/turn 18 so you can leave the home. Start saving money and thinking of a game plan just in case my suspicions are correct and you get put out. Yeah, I'm not with a certain girl just because her children will never leave the nest. Ever. I don't think it's an entitled parent. I don't know your history with her or how the text was written. She shouldn't threaten to kick you out, but I understand being angry over the smell of a rotting mouse stinking up the house, and it's concerning that you got used to the smell. USM kinda sounds dumb. Does she not understand that when one is slowly introduced to a terrible smell, they get used to it? Very bizarre situation for your stepmother to react that badly. Maybe she was trying to find a way to get you into trouble/out of your home. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.